Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to Community Confessions, our live, no-nonsense interview series where we peel back the curtain on what really takes to build and lead a thriving community. Today, I'm so excited to have Kellie Cope join me, founder of Huddle. She helps coaches and parents protect her, fuel her, empower her, providing female athlete health and nutrition education. A lifelong athlete and former collegiate lacrosse player, Kellie knows firsthand the pressures of female athletes face around fueling and performance. A mum, coach, she's passionate about helping girls build healthy relationships with food, body image, and sport. Have I missed anything, Kellie?
No, you nailed it.
Okay, great. Kellie and I worked together about 10 months ago. We went through a build to launch strategy process, and I'm so excited to have you here so we can reconnect and see how your journey's been since we've been working together. Hi, Kellie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So we have a few questions. We're going to get into the beginning, soft, light touch stuff. So we won't get into the serious stuff yet, but then we're going to go into more of the safety and inclusion piece. And then we're going to go and really lift the curtain and find out how that community building process was for you as a solo business owner, a lady with an amazing idea to help young girls and women in their sporting careers. So to start off with the first question, what originally drew you to building a community of Huddle? What was it, intentional, or did the community evolve, or did the idea click one day?
A couple of different ways, honestly. One, I absolutely love being a part of community myself. I get a ton of energy off of other people's energy, and I just love connecting with others. I think there's, obviously that energy piece, but also to the learning piece through knowledge, but also to our shared experiences, whatever those might be in different environments. But I think there's a lot that we can learn from each other. But I feel like it's, harder and harder these days to kind of build or be a part of communities, just like we were talking about, Serena. When we are juggling 6,000 different things, it really does become more difficult. And so I really wanted to do the best I could to maybe create something that, fills that gap. I also, with the work that we do, increasing knowledge is one small piece of the puzzle. But what we see when we're trying to teach things and, have our audiences implement these things in order to actually help create behavior change. So where they're taking this new knowledge, implementing it, and then, hopefully changing whatever the behavior is that's either positive or negative, and then also helping change a culture, we really need to handhold through that a lot of times, where they can ask questions, be a part of their journey as consistently as possible. So we're not just going in and teaching and then leaving and being like, good luck, have fun with your information. We really try to have that thread that helps them again, implement that new knowledge. So that is what this, community is also providing. And then, the last piece, which is one of our main missions, is to do the best we can to keep our resources and information and everybody that we collaborate with as accessible as possible. Public health is part of my background, and doing the best I can to keep those resources available for anybody that, no matter your socioeconomic status, culture, et cetera, we wanted to make sure that was a big piece of our mission as well.
Yeah, it's a really big piece and really important work. And I mean, if you think about today and how women and girls are exposed to information online, I mean, I had a conversation with another client earlier this morning, and there's so much misinformation out there, and the beauty and the importance of building a community is to make sure that information is verified and that you as a community leader are doing the work to making sure that they're getting the right information and are supported. And that community piece is important because it's like you're giving them that information, like you said, and you're continuing checking in on them as well, because then it becomes like a care component. It's like, you know, we all know that social media can disrupt our mental health and give us these distorted images of what life should be. And, you know, if you're bringing women and young girls into this safe space, you're able to not control that environment, but support them in getting what they really need. Taking out that extra noise that they don't necessarily need if they're concentrating on that scholarship or, you know, going through school. So yeah, it's really great work, like in what you're providing these women and young girls. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and also I should, you know, I want to put this out there, like, and I say this to our audiences and anybody we're always collaborating with, like, we do not have this process perfectly down. We never will. And that's not what we strive for. We want to make sure we are pointing and shooting and getting the work started so we can learn along the way, listen to the feedback, and adjust as we go. So even today in this conversation, everything I'm sharing is not like, you know, anything that I would, you know, write in stone. I think we just need to be open to taking that jump sometimes and relying on our community and our partners to really help us, you know, roll out something that's continuing to evolve.
Exactly. I love the build with you process. I think
yes.
It's the same with Delia, and I've launched it out there. We have 23 people in there, but God, like, even though I've done this a million times before, you know, it's an evolving process because every new person that enters the space has something different to contribute. So it might take it in a complete different direction. Speaking of like turning points and support, when did you know that it was time to bring someone in to help you with this project?
Pretty much immediately. You know, I think as a small business owner, you never realize how many things you are going to have to quickly become some sort of expert in. You know, all of my background is in science and health. It's not in marketing. It's not in sales. It's not in community engagement. It is not in, you know, tech. And so it was really important for me to do the best I could to stay focused on like the curriculum development, the, you know, relationship building with our collaborators within our community, and doing the best I can to help kind of, you know, stay in my lane or scope of practice, right? Where then lucky enough, I could call in experts like yourself to help guide me, to help streamline the process. And so that obviously was a huge help. And we would not be, it's crazy that you said 10 months. I didn't realize the time, but it's crazy to think that it's been 10 months and I honestly would not be where I am 10 months, you know, forward if it wasn't for you. I'd probably be in the same place trying to figure out how to build something.
A workflow and circle.
Yes.
Yeah. So just to let everyone know, we build Kellie's platform on the Circle platform. It's a great platform to use. Yeah, and you mentioned I have had a brain. This is what happens when you're a mom and your brain is like a drive. And that's exactly what I was coming to. This is what happens when you're a business owner of one, right? You're an expertise in something, like you said, in behavioral sciences, and you're all of a sudden then starting your own business, and you've got to be the accountant, you've got to be the lawyer, you've got to be the marketing person. And, you know, I've been there too, from, you know, running Sense and Forum, and it's like, okay, like, even though I know how to run communities, like, how can I even run my own? Like, this is a lot of work to put in. And, you know, you've got to write your email, monthly email. You've got to stay online on social media constantly. It's like, it's just, it's really hard. And yeah, bringing in help is, I think, and that's what I always say to my clients, like, let me do the thing that I know I'm good at so you can get on with doing the thing that you really love to do. Because I mean, writing an email might not be your passionate thing. And like you said, you might still be there, sat there writing that email because you're like, oh, I can't do this. And it's not because it's a hard task to do or it's a particularly long task. It's because it's just like you don't enjoy it. So like delegate that stuff.
Exactly.
Put it aside.
Exactly. I mean, and I think about it too, like I would never call an electrician to come and do my plumbing, right? Like that's just, so it is kind of baffling sometimes when I'm thinking about, now, of course, budget comes into play. Like we have to kind of do the things that we don't want to do or know how to do until, maybe we do have some income generated or whatever it might be. But that's why I think, your specific program was really good for me because you had lots of options to help meet me where I was and figure out like the budget and all of that as well. Yeah.
And it just, I guess, is like the proof's in the pudding. When you have the budget, you can invest in it. And, like you said, you didn't you realize you'd be this far along if you didn't hire the support. So, okay, you might not have the budget now, but know that the investment is going to be worthwhile. I mean, if you're, say, if you're setting up a pizza shop, you're going to invest that money in setting up the pizza shop before you sell your pizza, right? So same kind of thing. But I mean, and women, I think, particularly find it very difficult to invest in themselves, it hard to justify the spend on business. And we are also often in these positions where we have started our own businesses because we have lifestyles that require us, like we were talking about this earlier, but require us to be multiple different people. Like, I'm a mom, you're a mom, I'd like to do stuff for myself, and I run a business. So like, how am I managing this? We do find it very difficult to find the time and the energy to invest in ourselves. But I am very glad that you did, because I'm very glad that we met.
Me too.
It's been an amazing process. And, we're still in touch, which I love. A very nice relationship that we've built.
Absolutely.
We're going to jump into chatting about safety, inclusion in spaces now, because I know this is a big piece in your community. We work a lot on this to make sure that all the young girls and women in your space are kept safe, especially, and one of the reasons why we chose Circle, or you chose Circle as a platform, because of its like the ability to keep everybody safe and the ability to map out these different spaces. So, and I know, like, since we stopped working with each other, there's been things that have popped up, which I'd love to like learn more and explore more with you, because like you said, the pieces always continuing, constantly evolving. You never know what you're going to need to apply to a community until it kind of pops up in your face. So we've had a few discussions since we stopped working with each other about that. So let's dive into those. So just like baseline, what does inclusion mean to you and inside your community right now?
Really doing the best we can, like I said, to make everyone feel welcome and equal, no matter their age, gender, where they're from. With us, it's a big also too piece of like, are you a Division I athlete, or are you a middle school, rec athlete? So kind of that experience, but also too sometimes, the eliteness of sport, body sizes, skin types. We want to do the best we can to have images, conversations, content, experts that look like and come from backgrounds from all different. That way our community can really see themselves in some of these offerings, like I said, other collaborators, etc.
And that's really important, like being able to see yourself in a community, because if you can't see yourself, you won't join, or you won't be a part of it. And in your space, you're representing everybody, every woman, every young girl in sports. So it is important to have a range of diverse voices.
Yeah.
What is something you've learned about making space for diverse voices and perspectives? I'm sure, like, assuming maybe some conversations have come up that potentially you didn't realize because you obviously don't have the experience of those cultural backgrounds. Has that been a learning curve for you?
Yes. I mean, we're still new. So I think we'll be having more of those conversations. I think at this moment we have over 200 members in here. And so it hasn't come up like as a quote unquote challenge or anything yet. I think I create almost like an internal challenge of like, am I doing enough? Or, we do have an influx of white, females in the community. And honestly, I think that's just the sports specifically that we work with right now are dominated by white females. We are, doing the best we can to work with other sports teams that have all races, etc. And I think sometimes it's kind of like, oh my gosh, we gotta make sure we're getting, taking care of these athletes as well. And so that's like that internal pressure that I put on myself. But, collaborator wise, I think we're doing a great job at having diverse backgrounds in obviously expertise, but also to cultural, socioeconomic, et cetera.
Yeah, and that's really important, I guess, from a health perspective, is to have those different cultural experiences come through, because you can see women through different cultures experience health in very different ways. And as a white woman, my health is very different to someone who is Black. So the health issues that we all face are very different. So that is a really important perspective to have. And the experiences too, not even just like the health, but just experience in general. And again, because we learn so much from those shared experiences, I want to make sure we are creating, visibility for a platform to give visibility to those experiences as well. Yeah. And when you've been running the community, I know we've spoken about this before, and you discovered something early on after launching. What were the nuances you discovered, like keeping your community safe? There was that piece around like social media and things, and how have you brought that kind of keeping safe on social media into that perspective into your community as well?
Yeah, one of the things that we do the best we can, first, it's so hard because we talk about trying to limit screen time with our athletes. And here I'm like, well, we run an online community. So you're going to be looking at your screen. But, the messages, I think, really help generate that safe space where we're using language. We are, trying to dismantle the bias against women and individuals in larger bodies, and the images that they're seeing on a regular basis. So doing the best we can to verbalize that and show all of those differences, I think, is helpful in creating that safe space. Technically, I will tell you, one of the things that we did, and this is hard because this is labor intensive, because there is not a way to do this on like automatically within Circle. Under 16-year-old community members, I shut off their direct messaging. So you're not allowed to direct message on there, because I just don't want that to be some sort of issue. The thought that had also occurred to me, maybe I just do that for everybody. So it kind of almost forces everybody to connect, within that community space. But I was like, no, what if somebody has a specific question or something to share? So I'm still playing around with that, but that's one of like the I guess technical safety features that we've set in place. And then the other one is again, it's an online space for a multi population audience, meaning the environment, we want everybody, we want most players within an athlete's environment within our community in order to help change that environment. That being, so we have, the communities for athletes, their parents, their coaches, their athlete providers like physios and, athletic trainers or whoever that might be. But as I just mentioned, if we, our community has a whole community forum where everybody can ask questions and share experiences and learn together. But then what we did is separate some spaces out. So we have an athlete only section, we have a parent only section, we have a coach only section, we have an athlete provider only section. And that way we are hoping that, let's say an athlete is in this group with their parent or their coach or both, that they are still feel somewhat comfortable sharing experience or asking a question that might, might involve their parent or their coach that might be kind of negative. And it's like, how do we create a little bit of that separation so they would feel more comfortable? Whether that provides safety or not, that's to be, but we do hope that it gives them a little bit more comfort in sharing that. I don't think we're going to be able to create 100% safety just because it is an online platform, but we do the best we can to separate those groups out for sure.
Exactly. And we worked really hard on the guidelines and that process. And, that onboarding process is really important. So everyone gets exposed to the guidelines and, the codes of conduct. So you have those mechanisms in place for hopefully never you have to use them, but they're there. And I think that's the best thing that you can do, because like we said, you have the good and the bad, and the good shows up and you make change, and the bad shows up, you have to make a change. You have to take action. And that's just the way of the land when you run communities, because you
well, and we all know, I'm sure, like there are so many people out there that use social media and hiding behind a screen or, computer to, I don't know, to hurt people sometimes for whatever reason. And so, we're hopeful that doesn't happen, or doesn't happen often, honestly, is probably more the thing, because of course we're going to have some of that since we are an online platform. It just thankfully hasn't happened just yet.
Yeah. And I guess that's when moderation becomes a key player, and as you grow, you can bring more parents potentially in to support you in that moderation piece. Then we bring in the partnership piece and the advocacy piece, and the bigger the community, some more challenges do arise, but then you've got a room full of your biggest fans, because you brought them in early and you've got them aligned with your values, and people know how the space runs. So
setting those expectations, I think, up front are always key. And I probably do need to do a better job at, like, maybe at the every quarter or half a year or something, we do some sort of like reminder or something where we're pointing back to those guidelines, just to say, hey, just a reminder, this is a space for safety and inclusion and all the things.
That's a really good point. So everyone here listening, make sure you bookmark your quarterly safety, accessibility, diversity, and inclusion review.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I don't think that can be hurtful at all. And I don't think any, I just think it's one of those things that should probably be built into as I'm writing it down.
An
SOP, like a standard, operating procedure for that.
All right, we've got 15 more minutes with you, Kellie. So now we're going to get into some more confession pieces. If that wasn't tough enough.
This is great.
So you've been running the community now for 10 months. How has it developed in a way you imagined or evolved in unexpected ways for you?
Yeah. Let's see. How has it evolved? I think the best part of it, and the one that maybe I didn't imagine, is every single member, but also to potential member and anyone that I talk to about the community is like over the moon excited about it and is always saying, this is exactly what we need. How can I help? How can I be a part of it? And so that's been overwhelming in a good way. It's kind of like, oh, that's amazing. Now, the other piece of that is like, okay, now that I do have these collaborators in here, now that I do have these members in here, another little unexpected piece is the anxiety that causes in making the best that this can be, and giving them the best experience for that. And again, it kind of ebbs and flows, where sometimes I'm like, I'm doing the worst job. This could be so much better, really hard on myself. And then other times I'm like, okay, this feels really good. And, but I do think there is that level of pressure now that it's more than me. I'm taking, I'm helping, bring, visibility to other people's work and making sure that is, shining and people feel, good that I'm helping them, but also too, again, taking care of the members as well.
Have you ever had that "what am I doing" moment? And what was the headspace that you put yourself in to get out of it? Because I know we all, just having a business, doesn't matter whether it's a community, it's down to having a business. We all go, oh, today is not the day. I'm just going to go get a job.
Yes. I mean, I would love to say it's a moment. It's many moments. And, I can't, but yeah, I think the way I get out of it is doing the best I can to tell myself, Kellie, you're out here doing it. Like, people can criticize you all day long. You can criticize yourself all day long, but you are doing the best that you can. And, I think that does help me press on, because I also, especially in the space that I'm in, the health and the nutrition space, I see these quote unquote influencers online selling snake oil and spewing misinformation, having, 1 million followers. And I'm like, if they can do it, you can freaking do it too. You just need to have that. It's like, it's an ego thing. It's like, they have this huge ego. A lot of us public health people, we don't have this ego. We want to help people. That's what we want to do. And what we don't realize is sometimes we need an ego a little bigger to help people. And so sometimes it is kind of motivating to be like, these, silly people out here are, making money and selling people absolute garbage. And
Kardashian can sell those fairy underwear, right?
Yeah, yes. You have 2 master's degrees and 20 years of experience in new health and nutrition. Like, your opinion and the work that you do, Kellie, matters, and just keep chipping away as slow as it might be some days.
Exactly. But okay, we're going to go into the last couple of minutes. I think let's have a bit of a reflection. What's next for your space? What big dreams or new programs or new areas do you have lined up? Yeah. I mean, we're in November, so what's big for 2026 for Kellie Huddle?
So big news. It hasn't even been announced yet, so you're the first to know.
Lucky are we.
This is we've officially filed to be a nonprofit. Amazing. And so right now, we do have a membership where we have a free space, but then to get behind kind of that access to all of our information, you have to pay a small monthly membership. But what we are going to do is keep this free because, like I said, that's a big piece of our mission, and that is a big piece of my heart, and I want to keep it like that. But this also takes money and a lot of time. And so we filed for this piece of it to be nonprofit. Our camps and like in-person things will most likely continue to be, for profit and for cost, but we can now also roll in this nonprofit when we need scholarships and donations for whatever it might be. But all that to be said, we're hoping to get more sponsors and donations to help us support this piece in order for it to really help it grow. I want to get somebody on board that can really help me, with content and engagement and all the things to make this the best that it can be. So that'll be announced here probably towards the end of the year. What I'm trying to do is get as many people in the space between now and the end of the year and kind of make this big announcement, the first of the year.
Amazing. Well, we're cheering you on for sure.
Thanks.
I think it's a wonderful move. I mean, when you were talking before about, not being able to reach the minority groups because the sports that you're in are predominantly white women, and there's obviously a systemic bias there that, in these spaces. So by doing this with your program, what other underprivileged societies could you potentially reach with your program, go out there and teach these sports and bring these women in? So, if there is an amazing lacrosse player out there and she gets brought into this world of, as in a scholarship sense, she the backing of you and the support of you, and she can thrive. So hopefully more women like her in these spaces. Yep,
absolutely. Yes, that we're kind of thinking along those lines is, because at least in the States, I shouldn't say a lot. I don't know any, because most of the time we're in a public, I do most of my coaching in a public school space. Mm-hmm. Well, even those are sports within the school setting, the athletes still have to pay for it. It's all out of their pocket. Mm-hmm. And so what we're hoping to do is maybe create some, we would be a sponsor of an athlete and they would become a Huddle athlete where we're paying their dues or whatever it might be, in order for them to have that experience. And then we are doing an overnight camp. That's another big thing in the summer in June. And so, we will need obviously donations for that in order to help with scholarships for anybody that could not afford the cost, et cetera, of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I am so excited to see what's going to happen next year.
Me too.
Your small ideas turned into a 200+ community in the space of 10 months. I mean, that's achievement. And next year, you're turning it into something way bigger than maybe you ever imagined. So, super proud.
Thank you. Me too. I do have moments where I am proud of the work I do. Lots still to do, but that's okay.
It never ends.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go into a quick fire round, which means just one word answers or quick answers. If you could give your community a superpower, what would it be?
How about culture change?
Amazing. Okay. 3 words that describe your community vibe.
Energetic.
Yeah.
Evidence-based and collaborative.
Cool. And who would be your dream member to join your community?
Do you guys know Ilona Marr? She's a rugby player.
Yes.
Love her. Absolutely. Yeah. And Kylie Kelsey. They're both, female athletes. Kylie coaches female athletes still, and they're all about body positivity and all the things. And I just absolutely love them.
I'm going to tag them when we post this.
Yeah, thanks.
There we go.
Yes.
Maybe that's a collaboration with them, hopefully.
I love that. Yeah.
Put it out there, right? And see what comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really enjoyed this chat and getting an update on all the things Her Huddle. If people want to get in touch with you or join Her Huddle, how can they get in touch with you and join?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Instagram account is actually our umbrella brand, which is called Her First Athletics. Everything is listed on there. You can also go to herfirstathletics.com and get to our community that way. Yes, perfect.
You can join through this website here. So for everyone listening, if you have any questions for Kelly, we got 3 minutes. So maybe you want to just pop them in the notes, in the comments. Everyone listening, I hope today's chat gave you a few aha moments. I definitely got some. We definitely got a new SOP to put in our strategy.
Yes, we do.
And really, honestly, a great conversation about how we can support young women and girls in community spaces. If you love this chat, don't forget to hit our follow button. So you can also join us inside Delia and you can community where Kelly is. So if you have any questions, you can also ask her in there. Delia is a space for women positive community builders where conversations like this keep going long after the mic is off, and you'll find the link in the show notes. So before we go, I have a few small asks for everybody. I want to take a screenshot just so we can say, hey, we did it. We did our first community confessions for Delia. So if you're listening and want to join the photo, you can, or you can keep your photos off. That's totally fine. But I'm going to take a photo in 3, if everyone's okay. And no, I don't want to record. I want to take a photo. Okay, maybe more than 3 because I'm not that great at this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Wicked. And I will post the replay in the community. And if you have any takeaways, I'd love for people to share it with us. You can share it on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm going to post some captions below in the comments so you can copy and paste and go straight to social media. You don't have to think about it because, sharing is caring, but not a cold, please. So there we have it. Until next time.
Well, thank you. That was so fun.